to win the game. I think any time in college football you can come up with a win, that's a good thing. And it was particularly important for us as coaches interacting with our players. Many times you think you understand how things are going to be, but once the rubber hits the road and dealing with adversity, that's the X factor. And so we were pleased with how our players responded, because while we're pleased with the win, the performance certainly can improve, but the attitude was excellent. I really was pleased with our players, and that to some people on the outside may not think that's that big a deal, but it really is, because I think that's a part of earning trust as a coach, and for those players to believe in you. And those are things that it's so much harder to ever give up when you have people that are emotionally invested. So really pleased with that. I think we came out of the game particularly healthy. DJ May did not finish, and Jalen Claiborne did not finish, but both of them will return to practice today. So we're pleased with that. So we should go into this next game against Air Force healthy. Air Force is an excellent football team. I think they're significantly improved from last year. Watching the Nicholls State game, I think anytime you look at Air Force through the years, even when I had a chance to coach against them, you start at the quarterback position, and Pearson certainly does add a lot. Owens is a great running back, and I think the other thing is they got they've got a significant upgrade at fullback, so that's going to be a challenge for us there as well. So a lot to play for, a good start, but certainly was not perfect. There's areas of improvement. We were down -2 in the turnover margin, and so typically how we stage things, we can withstand one. We have probably need to do a better job when that ball's up in the air, going out and getting it, stripping, creating more takeaways. So that needs to be a point of emphasis. Along with that, execution needs to improve. I think it was great to see Colby respond from not making some great decisions, but I thought as the game went along, he got better and didn't get rattled. So that'll certainly be improvement, an area of improvement. Defensively, we had a couple busted coverages, and those things, while we say those are easily fixed, that's not exactly true, but we need to execute better, and I think that'll be a point of emphasis this next week. And I think there's some areas in the kicking game that we can improve a little bit in, but overall we were pleased with that. So at this time, I'll open it up to the questions on people that are on the telephone.
Coach AP Harold Evanston with the Big Dog. As you mentioned, this is Labor Day. Comment on just how lucky are those of us who earn a paycheck related to athletics?
Well, that's a pretty broad range question right there. I look around the room here, and you're out there in Evanston. You know what? Every day is, I haven't gone to work a day of my life yet. I've started coaching, 30-some years ago. And, as coaches and probably as media, we have no days off. And so it's another day at the office. I know we started our work day at 6. And so, anyhow, great to have you on the phone.
Coach, this is Herb Moss at the Denver Post. You're kind of new to the area here in a way, and over the years the Wyoming Air Force game has been really one of the top rivalry games in this area. Are you concerned at all that it had to come this early in the season before you really get maybe a good handle on your team?
That's a great question, Herb, and I've been updated a little bit about how intense the games have been through the years, not only just recently, but even from some of our former players and some of the great games that have been decided on the gridiron. Coaches live in the present. When the schedule comes out, we're soldiers. We kind of just play who's next on board, and so we've planned for this. This is nothing that caught us obviously by surprise. We had a significant amount of work during the course of the summer, and we've had work, quite frankly, during fall camp. And so I think those things we've addressed. Now the proof's going to be in the pudding on how we play 8 o'clock Saturday night.
The Air Force, in some ways, it seems to have gotten away from what it used to call its old triple option offense. does it make it more difficult to prepare for them than any other team because maybe they still might mix that in a little bit?
Certainly, a triple option football is, is very effective. Not many people do it, and quite frankly, a lot of young coaches have a hard time getting their arms wrapped around that. If you coached in the 80s, about half the teams either ran option football out of the split back veer or out of some semblance of a wishbone. What I think option teams have done over the last couple of years is been able to refine and change some blocking schemes and taken triple option plays into a different level. That poses a problem in itself, but along with that, the addition of some of the other schemes that they have implemented, when you say they've kind of gotten away from who they are, they've still been able to integrate a lot of those things and intertwine them within their offense. They're very explosive, and that was evident in the numbers they put up against Nichols. And not only their offense, but I think their defense. They do a lot of different things out of a three-down look and a lot of different pressures. So we've got our hands full, and your point was correct. I mean, the second game of the year to have a conference game is certainly challenging, but we're in hopes that they would look at University of Wyoming and say we've got our hands full also, and so we're going to play them, and we're excited about it.
Judging from the results of the first games, why the rushing defense might be a big factor in this game coming up. Both Wyoming and Air Force had good running games and so forth. Eddie Yarborough, is he kind of the leader of your defense?
That's correct, Herb. Eddie has been not only an excellent player, but he's an excellent leader. He's chosen as a captain. He's an underclassman. He's a productive guy. He walks the walk and talks the talk. He practices very hard. He encourages other people around him, and I think his play and his presence certainly is uplifting to our defense. Our defense is going to be one where we're going to gang tackle, hold points down, make you go the long, hard way, stop the run, and you kind of hit the nail on the head, and having players like Eddie is certainly helpful.
Thank you.
You bet, Irv.
Coach JP and Evanston again. Friday night I ran into the father of true freshman Brinkley Jolly in the lobby of the Cheyenne Marriott. Mr. Jolly said Brinkley might be redshirted. Discuss your general philosophy on playing versus redshirting true freshmen. Okay, hopefully everybody in the audience here heard the question about redshirting. We've got a criteria. First of all, we're going to do everything we can to win right now. We've got a responsibility to the seniors that are here. And so the criteria we look at is going to be three-pronged. One, can this young man help us win right now? Two, with that, typically that comes about because of a deficiency that we have, on the field, whether we don't have enough depth at a certain position. And then the next portion is their maturity, and that comes into two components. One, physical maturity. Do they really have the physical skills and the physical maturity to play? And then three, the emotional maturity. And that's sometimes things people forget. They'll see a guy like Brinkley who's 250 some pounds and a big strapping guy, and they say, hey, he's a man. Well, he's not a man. They're young men. And so we need to make a determination, are they emotionally set and ready to play? The first thing that we look at is where we're with our football team right now, and we feel like at the tight end position, with the players we have, it's going to be best for Brinkley to redshirt this year. That's his case, and how I just described it is kind of how we've made the determination on all the other players.